This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to be reviewing Chanel's Haute Couture Spring-Summer 2022 collection, designed by Virginie Viat. Before we get to the review, subscribe to my channel here on the tubes, push the join button next to the subscription button, become a member today, gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday. Be sure to join my live streams and partake in the conversation. Everyone's invited. And thumb up this video if you're liking it thus far. I will be reviewing the fashion show, which is portrayed on a video that Chanel posted on their YouTube channel. So I have taken that video and I will be reviewing it. That falls under fair use. However, I did change the music because music is copywritten. So I will be adding a non-copyright music or a copyright-free music on top. So let's see it. Let's see this Spring-Summer 2022 Chanel fashion show. So here we have the horses. This screen reminds me of Madonna's Confessions tour opening scene. For those of you who know, Jean-Paul Gaultier did the costumes for that show. He was working for Hermès back in the day. So all the saddle stuff from Madonna were made by Hermès/Gaultier. Charlotte Casiraghi, the Princess of Monaco, opens up the fashion show on her horse because, of course, Chanel wants to highlight nobility, aristocracy wearing haute couture. Peasants don't get to wear haute couture. Aristocrats and very rich people do. My sales associate told me the other day, you need to spend like $1 million a year to get an invitation to a Chanel haute couture show, unless you don't have the right connections. Blue is our word du jour. I am wearing blue as well. Mine is royal blue. This is a little bit more darker blue that they're wearing. A little bit that harlequin pants and the suits. Now, I've been thinking about this, you guys. We're going to get to I'm going to also talk about the layout and the setting and the construction of the whole fashion show and all of these sculptural elements, but let's just focus on the clothes. Very sleek, simple jackets. Of course, these pants are crazy beaded, but that's an exception because most other garments don't have all of that beading and crystals and added stuff. And I was also saying, it's we have been used and accustomed to the fact that haute couture has become like a synonymous of 1 billion bead, pearl, crystal added by hand to the garments, and we have been kind of almost overly saturated by that vision of more is more and more is haute couture, when in reality that's not what haute couture is about. Coco Chanel only used to do haute couture when she was alive. Pret-a-porter came after her death. So what Virginie is doing here, she is reducing everything to the bone. People have been criticizing this collection, saying that she copied Armani. Thank you for subscribing, Shanice. I do not see Armani here. This is not Armani's silhouette at all. Whoever thinks that this looks like Armani needs to educate themselves on fashion and maybe also start wearing glasses. So some of these pieces are quite boxy. The shoulders are, how Coco was obsessed with shoulders. Tailoring is impeccable. The simplicity of these pieces is to die for. Now, since we are also accustomed to pret-a-porter, we also think, well, does this outfit need to cost 80, 90,000 euro when it could have been a pret-a-porter piece for 10,000? It's still like, you see what I mean? It's crazy expensive anyway. Okay, we got feathers here. This is more of an haute couture piece. It's a bit silly, but a little bit more complexity. I think this is more targeted to the Asian market because they like to play with these volumes more. So I get where it's coming from. This is spring summer, so obviously we have also lighter textiles, although I gotta say some of the tweeds do feel quite heavy to me. This is a particular type of silhouette and cut that Virginie has been doing for several seasons now. This kind of the longer layer on top, the skirt underneath shorter, and then they kind of combine at one point and it almost creates this asymmetry. Not sure I'm a fan of it. It is, however, conceptual. So conceptually, I'm kind of feeling it. I just wouldn't be wearing it. This is a very fast, she loves her stripes. Virginie, oftentimes, now if anything, this is kind of referencing Gautier, right? Because he loves his marinière. But obviously Coco was alive way before him and she loved her little marine looks as well. And this is a very interesting curvaceous rendition. Oh my God, this poor model. They never managed to dress her right. And she, you guys, she has a beautiful body. For fashion standards, she's considered more full. She's their token model. She's the plus sized model, even though for us, she's the normal model, right? They never dress her. They always put her in some tank outfit that makes her look heavier than anything else. What a shame that Chanel cannot dress normal women. They only have, it seems like they can only dress women with no breasts and no curves. I mean, Coco Chanel was her own best model. By the way, this whole pattern, this floral pattern, we already had this exact fabric with smaller flowers from last season. She's recycling fabrics, is she? This is something very interesting. Look, she's doing it again in the green color. So this is a fascinating concept of kind of not... Okay, here we have the first model with the eye. I saw her with that black eye, you guys, and I swear to God, I thought... Well, first I thought she's pregnant, because she's like really... And then I thought, oh, how weird. Is she a model that has like... she was born with that thing, you know, like a stain? And I thought, oh, that's their token model for diversity. That's what I thought in the beginning. But then I started realizing, no, other models have that same eye. So it's makeup. We're going to get to the black eye later on. Like, put a pin on it. So Coco Chanel loved the marine look. So it's interesting how the silhouette is reinvented by Virginie for the occasion. It is a further development of Chanel's style. Very, very fascinating indeed. For the stripy bits before. It's a very varied and textured collection. Like we have another texture. Yes, these are all embroidered flowers, but even here, the embroidery doesn't go over the top. Even in this case, with this dress, where you could say it's a bit much, but this is also very much in style with Coco Chanel's vision of evening gowns and evening dresses for soirees and dance parties and theater. I'm liking this stuff, you guys. This collection is very fascinating to me. That black eye, though. We're gonna get to the black eye. You see the texture, the embroidered top, chest, and then we got this sheer opposite, almost non-existent. After this kind of tank of a top, we got this sheer bit here, and then we got the skirt. So she's layering and playing with colors and textures, which... It's not groundbreaking at all, but it's conservative in a very Chanel way, making an extra effort to be another shiner, to be effortless, you know, living for it. I don't like when they do all these feathers, especially in areas where you don't want to look bigger than you are. So, but whatever. But again, this is also something that I think is more catered to the Asian market. Everything that has the very delicate, fragile feathers and stuff like that. You know. This piece as well. This is kind of a really, look at that backless back. That is a beautiful little black dress, wasn't it? That was a great one. This asymmetry, this is a little bit more daring. This is not so much Chanel, and actually looks like something Carl could have designed in the early 2000s. This one is quite Chanel, actually, if you see it in action. You know, as she's walking. So, oh, we got these collars back. This is a little bit of a reference to his Métier d'Art 2019 collection, the Egyptian vibe. That silhouette is a little bit taken from there, from Carl's Métier d'Art collection, his last Métier d'Art collection. This puffy little skirt is almost giving me Breakfast at Tiffany's vibes with that little jacket. I think this is super fresh, super young, youthful. These asymmetric shoulder things, I'm not a fan of them. For me, Chanel needs to cover both shoulders or none. Not just one side. That asymmetry doesn't do it for me with Chanel. Chanel is all about symmetry. Coco Chanel was all about symmetry. So when you break that symmetry, you're breaking Chanel's DNA. I'm liking this one, this little pajama moment, this little negligee. Or like Wendy Williams would say, negligee. Negligee. Did you guys see Anna Wintour in the yeah, she was there. Anna was there quite bored. And then a couple of seats further down is that Oompa Loompa Pharrell. Oh, and here's the last look, the wedding dress. With the blue flowers, because we opened the show also with the dark blue, with that noble blue. It's not royal blue, but it's a noble blue. It's a very David Lynch type of blue. This wedding dress is... I love the shoes, by the way. That kind of mid-heel is gorgeous. It's kind of reminiscent of the 80s, but it also has a touch of 20s, late 20s in its silhouette and style. She's an ethereal bride. I think this Haute Couture collection is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. It is... Oh, these pants, these little Harlequin pants. To die for, honestly. Clean, simple. It's Chanel. It doesn't have to shock you. You know, it knows what it does good, and what it does good, it does best. And this is something that I respect when a brand stays true to its heritage and it plays. Look how beautiful all these gowns look together. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them are so effortless, and they don't need to try. They just are. And I love when a house like Chanel can just be so effortless. Okay, so here she is with Casiraghi, and that dude next to her, he is the guy. So that was Virginie in the middle. The guy is called Javier Velhan, or Xavier Velhan. He's the guy who created this whole wooden construct and installation for the horse to run on. It was a kind of a game on abstraction of a what you might call it, a hippodrome, something like that. So the thing, though, however, is that this show has received criticisms by, those Oompa Loompas at Diet Prada that have no clue what they're talking about. They never really did. I never understood why Diet Prada has any success at all. So they're just really terrible. But anyway, so they're kind of throwing shade and saying, like, Chanel is all, it looks like Hermès. Shade thrown at Chanel for looking like Hermès. Oh my God, this looked like Hermès because Charlotte Casiraghi opens the show on a horse. The show, first of all, the clothes looked like Chanel. They did not look like Armani, and they did not look like Hermès. So take that out of the equation. The horse, Virginie loves horses. Virginie is obsessed with horses. Virginie already last summer closed the Haute Couture collection with a horse. If you remember very well, there was another person riding a horse for the Haute Couture collection Spring-Summer 22. She brings back the horse for Spring-Summer, 21. She showed the horse in Spring-Summer 21 Haute Couture. Now she's bringing back the horse for Spring-Summer Haute Couture 22. People who are kind of saying that this is not Hermès, they're saying, well, Coco Chanel loved horses. Let me clear up Coco Chanel and horses. Coco Chanel is not really connected to horses. But let's be very clear about this. The reason why Coco Chanel was into horses in her youth was because she just left Aubazine. She was of age. And she wanted to get into the circles of the nobility, aristocracy, higher level. So she knew that she had to be in the stables. She had to be in an area because horses were a symbol of wealth, riches, aristocracy, military back then was also a big thing. So obviously, when she started her liaison with her first lovers, they all had their horses. She would get into that because she knew she had to be a part of that world if she were to make it in that world. But don't be fooled. The second that she made enough money, opened up her own store, her own boutique, made her own name, girl was not riding horses anymore. She was done with that. So she wasn't in love with horses. She never designed horse costume jewelry in the shape of horses. She never designed horse inspired attires. She has been photographed in the 60s at horse races. Yes, she went to many horse races, but again, those were social gatherings for the aristocratic and the rich. So of course she went there because all of the politicians, all of the people that were her clients would go there. It was a thing one used to do in the 60s. So she did go to the horse races, even though she didn't care for horses that much. Let's just put it that way. Karl Lagerfeld knew this. That's why we never saw really Karl implementing horses so much like Virginie Viard is doing. Because he knew that horses were a necessity to Chanel in her life, but she wasn't obsessed with them, not at all. Now, what Chanel did very cleverly do is she implemented the practicalities of the life surrounding horses into her fashion. What does that mean? That means that she implemented whatever was practical in the horse riding world into fashion. The outfits of the jockeys, the jockey bags, the messenger bags that she turned into the 255 bag, the quilting, the matelassé quilting, all of that stems from horse riding, but she transformed that into fashion and made it practical for herself. So we have an abstraction from the world of horse riding into the world of Chanel fashion, which is groundbreaking and revolutionary. What Virginie is doing is literally giving me the, oh, I love horses, let's put a horse in the fashion show. And that's what she did. And then this Xavier dude, and here's the problem. This Xavier dude, what he did was he created this wooden installation with these circles and the whole dynamic movement. That's what looks like Hermès to me. It's the actual installation surrounding the fashion show that looks like something Hermès would have done. You see? And nobody really mentioned this. Everybody kind of say, horse, horse, horse. Yeah, duh. It's a horse. Hermès did not invent a freaking horse. But Hermès did invent this type of style of furniture, installations, utilizing wood with circles, the color patterns of the natural grain of wood combined to darker hue, brown and black, again, circles, motion, dynamic, sport wear. So that is what looks like it's very Hermès, but that has nothing to do with Chanel. That is this Xavier Oompa Loompa who didn't know any better, and he just did that. That's his art. So I don't blame Chanel for looking too much like Hermès. I blame him for not being clever enough to adapt his vision to the House of Chanel rather than not thinking too far and kind of making the installation look more like Hermès. Thank you for the super chat, Chris. Let me pop a cherry for you in your honor.
Super chat from Chris Rosenas Americanos.
Child, let me tell you, it's a party today. Thank you so much for the super chat. So that's what's Hermès. It's the installation, not the clothes and not the horse. I have an issue with Charlotte Casiraghi. She's an aristocrat. Chanel playing that snobbery game of just pushing aristocracy as the symbol of Chanel, it couldn't be more far from the truth. Yes, Coco Chanel wanted aristocrats to buy her fashion because they had the money. But she did that in a time where aristocracy kept this system of fashion alive. Nowadays, it's not the aristocracy, it's the new rich. But the new rich are being led to believe that they are aristocracy because they have the money. And that's why I think Chanel is playing this game with Charlotte Casiraghi, being the ambassador of Chanel, riding a horse like, an elegant aristocrat that she is. There's so much decadence in a bad way, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth because Coco Chanel does not come from money and aristocracy. She was an orphan, abandoned by her father. Mother died when she was very little. She was raised by nuns in an orphanage. She comes from nothing. So kind of selling this brand as a pillar of aristocracy is wrong. Is wrong and very deceiving. So there's that. Now going to the black eye. So the black eyes on the models. So there's 3 models with the black eye. Oh my God, here, I'm going to show them to you. So this is the one. It's makeup. Let me zoom it in as much as I can. It becomes a bit grainy after, but there you go. It's like makeup. Talk about a smoky eye, right? With a little bit of glitter. Then this is the other one. Okay. And also let's zoom into the eye. And then the last one that I've seen is this one. And I'm going to zoom into this eye as well. So there's a little bit of kind of like a glittery thing, like almost like glitter down here. So obviously Chanel then at one point posted this to their Instagram. This is one of their Chanel official posts on Instagram, and they state, capturing the ethereal lightness of the spring-summer 2022 Haute Couture collection designed by Virginie Viard. Yada, yada, yada. Now, huge backlash, because obviously the first thing people saw when they see these black eyes, they think, problems at home. And, you can't say the word on YouTube, but domestic V. So let me read a couple of the comments that the viewers posted under Instagram, Chanel's Instagram post. Those that don't follow Chanel won't know this symbolizes getting kicked by a horse. Let that sink in. Charlotte Casiraghi, who is an aristocrat riding a horse. So what is Chanel trying to tell us? That horse ridden by an aristocrat is kicking back and away models that are not aristocrats. Is that what Chanel is trying to tell us? But this is just an interpretation of one of these commentators underneath the Instagram post. It's more a symbol of domestic V, which I am a survivor of. This is not a fashion statement, but I guess bad publicity is still publicity. Do better. Another person said, someone punched her. Terrible design. Just saying. Somebody else said, worst outfit yet. But don't worry, Virginie will strike again. The shade. Somebody else said, congratulations on the magnificent work and collection. Somebody else said, very depressing spring line. In a tumultuous time in the world when we need some Parisian flair. Somebody else said, stick to the Chanel DNA, please. Somebody else says, looks a tad demonic to me. Somebody else says, in Spanish, no me gusta el ojo, I don't like the eye. Parece un golpe, it seems like the person has been hit. Somebody else says, horrible makeup decision and the collection is awful. Somebody else said, panda eyes, bye-bye Chanel. Somebody says the joke of it all. Somebody says, Virginie, leave Chanel now, please. Somebody else said, who hit the model? Somebody else said, when is a shiner, aka black eye, fashion? Immediate thought is V and A. Somebody else said, she looks like she was struck in the eye. Is that a look? Somebody else is questioning, what happened to real fashion? As a woman who went through DV, this is offensive. No bueno. Like somebody else said, ¿Qué mensaje transmite esta imagen? So which message does this image transmit? Somebody else says, Virginie, stay flopping on these Chanel collections. It's comical. The horse step on her face or what? So there's a lot of hate. Okay, so they're barely out of the woods with their advent calendar shenanigan. Now they're doing this. So what is this? Is it supposed to be a comical relief moment of the horse hit her in the eye? Is that funny? No, it's not funny because the horse is an aristocratic horse hitting a non-aristocratic peasant model. Or is it a symbol of DV? Is it though? Why you don't mix that in? You don't glamorize that. You just don't glamorize it. You don't. It's such a no-brainer. So there's nothing beautiful about it. There's nothing elegant about it. There's nothing romantic. You don't freaking romanticize shit like this. This is embarrassing. This is an amateur's mistake. Somebody who has the power to make decisions has absolutely no experience. And because it's not true that every commercial is good advertisement, that even bad publicity is good publicity. No. Being tone deaf, as Chanel is, and they keep being tone deaf, and they keep proving to us how tone deaf they are from season to season, that's not good. Making one mistake one season and then you learn from your mistakes and then moving on is one thing. But Chanel, yeah, keep making mistakes constantly. Long term, I have the feeling that really the people at Chanel, they really believe that they are always patting themselves on the shoulders. They can do no wrong. They're at the top of the world. They are at the peak of the Olympus of the fashion world. They are untouchable. They believe that everything they make is groundbreaking and like awe-inducing, that you cannot criticize it ever, that you cannot question it ever. And I've worked in such environments in the fashion world. I know exactly how it goes down there. It's a very disgusting situation to work in, really, because it becomes like a secluded, closed group of people that never allow any sort of criticism, constructive criticism coming from the outside. They have huge funds, big money coming in because the company is rich. So they never get to hear the criticism. They never get to hear what has really been done wrong. And so they never better themselves. It just keeps sinking. It's like a sinking ship. But the money is still there because stuff still does sell. The bags still sell. The shoes still sell. The perfume still sell. The cosmetics sell. And that's kind of what subsidizes the rest of their shenanigans. And it's bottom line, it's very sad. They should have known better than doing these black eyes. Honestly. So, yeah. Any comments? Let me hear. Let's see. Asia A says, something is saying Chanel isn't doing well. Price increases, advent calendar, falling out crystals, and black eyes. Yeah, and also allegedly being in cahoots with Instagram to delete people's Instagram accounts. Chanel, girl. It just ain't it. Chanel is not off the hook yet. They have some answering to do. Seriously. Okay, so let me see. What else is there? Trina says, Chanel is making some poor creative decisions. Who is approving these? Oh, Virginie and her creative team is approving it probably. Fatini says, it felt so uncomfortable. I cannot justify it. Yes, but no, says, I agree, Dacob. They've made a huge mistake. The fact that DV is even in the conversation is appalling for the brand. Yeah, and it's even more tone deaf if they thought that people would really think, oh, it's just funny. The horse hit her in the eye. Even that's not funny. Even that's not funny. Not funny at all. Michelle Crawford says Coco Chanel would be disgusted. Yes, she would not. She would find that black eye really vulgar. Really vulgar. Julia says pain or violence against women or anyone should not be glamorized. I agree. Natalia P. Hairy beaded pants and the second blue suit were my faves on the runway. Whatever they wanted to say with that eye, they failed, in my opinion. The clothes were beautiful, you guys. I think the collection is wonderful. I just think the presentation was terrible. I feel that the installation was terrible. And those eyes were terrible. And the choice of Kaziragi as their image, terrible. Beyond terrible. Fotini says, whatever the concept was, it will be forgotten. But the photos are going to stay to remind of violence. Jacqueline says, wouldn't Lucia be responsible for the makeup? No, Lucia Pica has been fired, my dear. Like a year ago. Lucia Pica is out of the house. Lucia has nothing to do with them anymore. Me and my boat. They need to get back to the street for further inspirations like Lagerfeld, design, growth, and innovation. As I said, I believe the clothing is nice. Save a couple of pieces that were not good, but most of the collection I really enjoyed. Letty, some of the clothes were beautiful, but the show overall was cringe at best, in my opinion. Magda says, fashion is incredible to watch. I just wish they could dress normal humans. Fashion shows hurt my self-esteem. Good point. Andrea says, their stock is going down. Well, they're not on the stock market yet, but yeah, from a moral standpoint, their stock really is going get done down. Definitely down. Jack, I think a lot of the silhouettes of the outfits were cutting off the models in weird ways. I know. I understand what you're saying. I like that dynamic. There was friction there in the proportions, which was refreshing for me to see. Mary Ann Lero says, maybe this eye symbolizes how my eyes feel after a price increase. Oh my God. And there, you see? Yeah. Ah, man. Julie Scott says, I'm speechless. Dag Now says, Princess on the Horse. The top one. Princess on the Horse, how tacky and tone deaf. Yeah. Jack says, I hated the split down the middle skirts. Ellen says, how embarrassing. It looks like they are promoting DV. And we don't mean Donatella Versace. Ariel Malanga, I didn't have a problem with any of it. Fotini says, the collection was one of my favorites, though. I enjoy the ethereal simplicity so much. Yeah, it's beautiful. The collection is wonderful. Julie says, I loved the clothes. They seem very wearable. Makeup was in poor taste. RN says, the whole show was a nigh from me. And that's that, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Julia says, I liked how they used mixed textures, still included classic Chanel looks, and had floral patterns. The looks were beautiful, but I did not enjoy the black eyes. And I gotta say, Magda says, I like the mesh middles on the stomach of the dresses. Oh, you liked that? Interesting, Magda. I had the impression that a lot of women are going to feel like it fills them up in an area where they want to be more slender, but it's super interesting to hear that you like it. There was that one dress with the first lady with the eye or was it with the eye? Yeah, that had like kind of this like not wedding dress. She looked like she was pregnant because it had this big bubble in the front, and it was like an empire dress because the waistline was right under the breast. And I thought, what an interesting thing to add these kind of empire dresses, which is something Dolce & Gabbana loved to do a lot, or did a lot in the past. I thought that dress was a little bit like out of place. It was more the costumey version of the collection, but it's still kind of, because Chanel also loved costumes. She loved to dress up, like costume balls and themed costume soirees. So if you know that about Coco, you kind of can implement that into the fashion shows. And I do believe that some of the pieces that we've seen today had that element in them, that playful element. So that was also very Chanel. I just would not do the asymmetric, the thing that just had one shoulder and then no shoulder there. Those dresses were not very Chanel. Ariel says, I like the mesh too. Just says, turns out the models were hit by a price increase. And with that comment, we're going to call it a day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thumb it up. Let me know your thoughts about this collection and all of the controversy surrounding it in the comment section down below. And until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.